Alright guys, still the gliders on Bet WGB TV. Emmanuel Sebastian standing in as your host today in place instead of my boss, Joy Abena Ojabulu. I have to use that because it's the middle name now we all love to use at this point. So wherever she is, I think she'll be having fun on the show. But good to have you guys on set. We are wearing similar suit colors today. I don't know if it wasn't planned, just to put that out to the listeners.
I was just telling Timothy out there when we were kitting up for the show that seems that we are doing collabo. Because we are doing
touch of pink.
Please let's be clear on what collabo is.
you guys. The other day was Mikolo when we said we are doing guys.
Oh guys, don't worry. I purposely dodged that line today.
So now collabo now we should buy collabo
on the clothes. Like let's be clear on the thing.
Now they do things so.
I mean, just gonna look odd. Maybe today we might the kind of color of shirt.
No, maybe that's
like
the distinction that he's the host.
Yeah,
you are the analyst,
and then you are yellow.
Another angle. I like the angle where you bring them, but it's just that you said now you can carry dread just like me and Timothy carry dread. I don't know.
But me and you fair.
Share this your F, you do dreads.
Wow, which one answer?
But is this something you plan doing? Anyone you want to do? Is this something you plan doing?
I like to experiment with a lot of things. There was one time my beards. I used to shave this side and leave this side. I like odd
nice
things.
improvisation.
Yeah, so I used to have grey dyed hair. I used to dye my hair grey previously, but there is something or someone or some people or an organization that is blocking that right now. There are a few things I can do with my hair now. It's either low cuts. If you are going to leave it full, you have to comb it to that style that those pastors kind of full. You are restricted with what you can do. With with your hair, you can't do dread, you can't dye your hair. What else again? You can't plait your hair. Can't use earring as a guy. So there are things that I cannot do right now. But in the future, maybe I would do dread and I would go back to dyeing my hair. But I loved where my hair was. Maybe I would look for a picture of my hair when it was dyed, and you see it's fine, boy.
I faced a few of those challenges. Then as a church boy, keyboardist, when I started my hair thing, people didn't know I could grow. Me myself, I didn't know I could grow this long hair because it just started from little. I started, when you want to start drawing, I go to use foam.
Yeah.
When you were going to start, why did you start?
I just want to look different. I just feel like I leave my hair and they come back. Because I started with punk in secondary school. I go carry toothpaste, put for my hair, put for foam, you go strong, stand. Before you knew it, I left my hair. I don't usually comb it, and it grew this long. Church people came. You be keyboardists. They stand for all you're not supposed to carry. The elderly ones in the church, the women, the elderly men. You're not supposed to carry this kind. Then see they attack me to the ball. You get some people say you go do person no one change, you go leave them. So I they can't do my thing, not with my head, they can't serve God and stuff like that. But it happens, things happen, but we just have to carry on like that. And now see Timothy now start thing don't body the hairstyle. Like you don't
be like that person face persecution about your hair.
No. Funny how from my parents and family side, I've not when I started keeping my hair, the purpose was of course to lock it, but because of school. Like I said on the last episode, I could not. But after school, now I felt okay.
School we blocking you from.
Yeah, if you go to like FUTA, especially my department, mathematics, they would go to class. They don't want you to see your hair full. It's always even you can't write exams without combing your hair and all that. So then, as much as I was keeping it, when I needed to comb it, but when it was like this month, I just felt okay, it was time to lock it because I felt it was already in free form, like Manuel talked about earlier. But for my family side, I've never faced any, why is your hair this way and all that, because the kind of person I am, and if you as an outsider are just going to define me by the way I look, not what I have done or the kind of attitude I put out, then I don't know, maybe there's an issue. And generally, just one thing with maybe Nigerians or people, you kind of profile someone because you see this person wearing stuff, or okay, this person is wearing a dreadlocks and all that. But really, this person is not defined by what it looks like. People just want to look different. I mean, we have seen people on dreadlocks. Ashake was on dreadlocks for how many years or so.
Yeah,
now he
before-
had decided that he wants
Yeah.
to look different. In the next few years, he could say he wants to go back to doing something very fashionable again. So, I mean, the whole thing about dread and all that, but I just find it funny and interesting about when you were talking about your own story, because I feel like as an entertainment industry, it's something that, okay, you can allow. If you're in a corporate space, maybe, okay, you're working in the bank
Yeah, my boo.
and all that. I mean, we
Even
see...
though it shouldn't define, but I mean,
And I'm just
people-
saying, okay, like the norm, okay, maybe as a banker, they don't expect it to look like that, but as an entertainment
But why?
industry,
Why?
that's what I'm
Why
saying. I
should
don't
the
have
banker
any.
not look like
I
that?
don't have any reason.
That's why I
what
said
I'm
as
saying.
the norm. It's
Yeah,
not like
it's not
individually,
like-
you might not see it as
yeah,
anything.
I'm not supporting it, but I'm not saying if that was the position or in that kind of company, okay, I say, okay, maybe it's the way it has been previously. But as an entertainment industry, I don't think I would find it interesting and looking like that. But I mean, there's nothing you can do when a company have their policy and all that. You can,
Well, one silly question before we move on from this. How long do you want to go?
as long as I can. I mean,
Okay.
as long as I can.
That's my answer as well, because I mean, this my hair is today. I've trimmed it at some point. It grew back. I think I've trimmed it twice,
Imagine.
and it grew back. So I'm just having fun. But the only thing I can't explore, I can't try, is to go bald or to go.
Are you shading me?
The
Are you shading our
effort-
producer?
the effort in
That's the
keeping
only-
a
I
dread
can't-
is
I can't
massive. I don't know if I have that time. The effort. I've seen
Yeah.
people who take care of their dreads.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
The
You have
effort.
to.
Ah.
Well,
Even
talking
I had-
about hairstyles, I mean, we are definitely looking good on the show today, and I promise you, our analysis will look as good as we go on the show. And we will kick off with the big games over the weekend. Derby, everywhere you turn. One in the championship, of course, the two biggest derbies this past weekend. First was the North London Derby in England, and the Derby della Maddalena. I mean, thankfully, Timothy on the show today. Inter and Milan. At the end of the day, it was the away team on the day, even though we know the situation about the stadiums and all that. It was Milan who carried the day. What's your take from that game? How did Inter lose that game to Milan?
Before the game, I was quite positive. At the same time, there was the thought of remembering what happened last season. I mean, played them again four times last season, and they won all. It was
it
even
all?
though, yeah, they won all.
Wow.
Like, I mean, AC Milan won all. So it shows that, okay, there's something wrong. And then most times people say it's derbies. There's something that you don't call from when derbies come to play. I mean, or a rivalry game. You might be the most informed team in the world, but when you play a rivalry or derby game, everything can change around. And that was what happened yesterday. Right from the blast of the whistle, Inter Milan were like the very, very good side. They kicked on so early. The cross from DiMarco off of the left. Marcus Thuram, who came in after a long while, he has been off, and he came in very, very close.
Had some few chances, yeah.
Their first save was Mike Maignan, but from there they kept pushing. Hit the crossbar off Achebi, hit the crossbar off Lautaro Martinez, and then funny how they were so dominant that I could barely see Jan Sommer in the game, only on few cases when maybe defenders had to go back and then had to restart the passing channels
From
of
the back, yeah.
having to go build up. But I think for the goalkeeper yesterday was the one that was the culprit, because AC Milan were not so decent. Of course, you expect them to create a few chances, but the few chances they created was that one that Pulisic scored. I mean, the pass came to, I think it was Salamanca's, who hit the shots. You'd have expected Sommer to push that ball very well, but he pushed it towards Pulisic, who scored the goal. And for a keeper, that was the first test that he faced on the 9th. And for having the opponent's keeper, which was AC Milan, Mike Maignan, who had made about 3 or 4 saves in the game, and then this was your own first test, and you fumbled it. That was what lost the game for Inter Milan. That said, I think it was just a game that, in the head of yours, you know that, okay, there's nothing we may do to win this game, even if we keep playing this game for 3 hours. I mean, you brought in the likes of Johan Boni, brought in the likes of Pio Esposito. Esposito has 5 goals in 3 games for Italy. Even with Inter Milan, he's been so decent. The likes of Lautaro Martinez, even Boni has scored about 4 goals already in just lesser games. So he brought in all those players and nothing could happen. We got the penalty. Achan Chanalolu was. I mean, when we got that penalty, I thought, okay, this was our time. Let's get our equalizer and probably go and get the win. I was so confident. Someone asked me in a WhatsApp group, said, "Will you score?" And I used this short acronym LOL, laughing out loud. That, do you expect Chanalolu not to score? And then the next thing, he stepped up and he missed. And it was like, what's going to happen tonight? A couple of chances. Barella also had a flick off to Sušić. I don't. If you watch the game against, I think it was the one against Torino. Sušić caught about 2 or 3 players. He tried to create it again this time, but Mignon was very decent on the night. But it was an ill-luck day, and it was a bad day. And I felt that using Carlos Augusto on the right because Dumfries was injured was a mistake. Augusto was not bad on the night defensively, but offensively, you know, the way Dumfries will always bust into the channels, into the box and make decent crosses or even shoots. That was something Augusto could not provide because of course he's a left footer. I thought that Enrique should have come in at a point, and all of those things happened. But yeah, it's one of those things. They were very, very good on the night, but nobody cares. AC Milan, they were the one that won the game, and they've won 6 of the last Milan derbies, and it shows that Inter Milan have something to do in terms of Milan derbies. That said, I feel like it's not so far-fetched. They're just 3 points behind Roma, and AS Roma are doing something very, very interesting this season. Gasperini would always show that he's a manager that can go somewhere and do things, and that's what he's been doing with Roma this season. But it's still very open. AS Roma first. I think AC Milan second with 25 points. Napoli 25 points. Inter Milan 24 points. So it's very, very tight and keenly contested in the Serie A. But let's see how it goes.
Well, talking about seeing how it goes, something significant happened in the Italian Serie A this weekend. Players, coaches were with a red paint on their faces. I wish our producer can pull out 2 pictures. Yeah, you could see on your screen. So every player with red paint on their faces to raise awareness for the On Rosso alla Violenza campaign. That's a Red to Violence campaign against women. The 9th season that Serie A has supported this campaign, which aims to raise awareness surrounding physical and psychological abuse towards women in Italy. So in case you're wondering why players, coaches were with a red paint on their faces, that is just that. So yes, Serie A continue to campaign for women who has been, one at the end of one casualty or the other, and it will lead me to also commiserate with the lives lost so far, even in our own country here in Nigeria. But the whole thing going around, I know this is not the platform to talk about it, but just to sympathize with everyone. The fact say you never reach us, no means it need to happen. So we just have to be grateful that so far it hasn't gotten to our side. Now back on the show, Felix, let me come to you. The North London Derby. Arsenal Sports, the game of the weekend. Arsenal heading into that game, looking at the fact that City dropped points, Liverpool dropped points, and it was a game they needed to win, and they got the result at the end of the day. Eberechi Eze with a hat-trick. How good has he been for Arsenal since making that move to a sports side, which he was eventually going to move before Arsenal can call it?
Yeah, I'm very happy for Eberechi Eze that it turned out that way for him, because he's a guy that during the transfer window, we were hearing the stories of how close he was to joining Spurs, and he had spoken to Frank, he had spoken to the Tottenham bosses. Spurs and Crystal Palace had already reached an agreement for a fee, 60 million was it, that they agreed on. But he told his agent, if there is 1% chance that Arsenal is going to happen, I would rather wait, because I don't feel like I want to put on that Spurs jersey, because obviously we know his roots. He started from Arsenal before he was released at some point in his career. He came back to the club. Fitting for him to score a hat-trick. He's like the first Arsenal player to score a hat-trick in the North London Derby in about 50 years. He's like first in his on his debut. Yeah, on his debut to score in about 50 years to do it. And that was very, very fantastic goals also. And they were goals that he did not have a lot of time to think about. The first one just took a snapshot with his right leg. The second one controlled, took a shot with his left leg. And then the final finish to get him a hat-trick. Very, very comfortable win for Arsenal. I've not seen a big game so one-sided. Spurs had 0 shots in the first. By the way, that's the second time they are doing that this season.
Before that game, they are yet to lose away from home.
Yeah, they were unbeaten away from home in the Premier League before that game. But we also know that Arsenal had their number going into that game. The last time they won is about 15 years ago when they won at Arsenal's house. And last season, we know Arsenal pummeled them. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting anything different than an Arsenal win, but I was not expecting that kind of dominance. And the sports coach put it right. He said when you watch Arsenal, when you review that game, when you see that game, you know that this is a team that they are 6 years into their progression. And you can also tell that Spurs are less than 6 months with their manager course. They could not string 5 passes
together,
on the go without being intercepted. Arsenal was suffocating them. The press, Merino, Saka, Trossard, who has become a leader for Arsenal in recent times, he has become one of the guys that is... You could see every time the ball went out of touch, he was the one riling the fans up, telling them to cheer the players. And the only goal Spurs scored, they had to score from distance, and it was from an Arsenal mistake. If Arsenal kept their perfection throughout that game, I'm not sure they would have gotten a sniff. Okay, so Arsenal were very dominant. They look like champions material, champions in waiting, but we know it's still a long time of the season. But
from your reactions from that look, I know you're trying to stay on the fence, kind of.
I'm trying to stay on the fence, but they are taking away every little excuse that we might want to put in their face. Because I saw a stat yesterday on Sky. 6 teams previously have been in the position where Arsenal are now. All 6 teams went on to win the league.
Title, yeah.
So it would be very, very, very bad, very, very disastrous for Arsenal to be the team that would be in a title race 4 times consecutively and not win one. To be the team that would be this much gap between them and the chasing pack in the league and still not win the league. So that's why I'm saying they look like, but again, we've seen in the last 3 seasons, they fumbled twice to Manchester City, fumbled the bag against Liverpool last season. Chelsea fans are beginning to say, if City have done it, Liverpool have done it, we can as well have our turn with this Arsenal
team. When they say fumble, I'm not sure Arsenal were in this position where they were leading. Arsenal kept playing catch up. Yes, they kept playing catch up.
Yeah, but Arsenal have had 7 points in the new year on City and lost the league.
Yeah, that I think that was the
first one. Yeah, they had 7 points on City and lost the league. So that's why I'm saying it's still November, and Pep Guardiola, the way he's speaking, although I understand what Pep is saying, that it's still November, you don't win the league in November. Yeah. But I don't think his team too can win this league the way they are playing. So that's why I'm saying it looks like the road is clear. The coast is clear. Chelsea cannot be consistent through the end of the season. Man City that we are going to fight, I don't think they have it in them to do it. Liverpool are probably going to be the worst title defenders or defending champions.
You can say that. No, it's fine.
Emmanuel, the guy,
you can say that it's fine because I know you were waiting for this last time. I tell you,
but there is Manchester United with David Moyes, so maybe you guys.
There's a person that host today, so maybe the banter should reduce. But I mean, like you talked about Pep, ahead of the fixtures this weekend, he said that the season starts now because this is when the games come thick and fast, and games after games heading into the festive period and all that. But right now, Chelsea are the closest to Arsenal in the league standings. As an Arsenal fan, would you prefer a Chelsea behind you? Timothy, I don't know if putting it to you as an Arsenal fan, would you want a Chelsea to be chasing, or you would rather want a Chelsea than not a City, a Liverpool who has been there the last couple of years and all that?
It's hard to speak up from the emotion of an Arsenal fan, but you have put me in that instance. But as an Arsenal fan, yes, now I can't relate with the emotions as a fan.
I get it.
Exact, but I will still speak on what you said. I feel like you would not want. Firstly, you would not want Manchester City to chase you, because there will be that trauma of the past few seasons. Maybe 2 seasons
I
ago.
would want this City to chase me if I was Arsenal. I would want this City to chase me.
Well, I don't know. There's nothing like this City. The fact is, it remains the same club. It remains the same couple of players, maybe a few changes. Yeah, like that I say, maybe a few changes. It remains the same manager. It remains the same setup and the same way that it will come to you. So you do not want that kind of team chasing you, knowing that if they hit a stride of maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 games and they continue to win, and then you know that if they keep coming at you at every instance, maybe when you now have to cancel out each other by playing a bigger side, or then they have to play a couple of runs of play when they have to play Burnley, Sunderland, and all of those. Then they can overthrow you, and when City gets to that top, you know that it may be all over. So I feel like you still prefer Chelsea, knowing that Chelsea have not won the league in recent years, knowing that Chelsea has not been Arsenal's rival in recent years in terms of maybe having to compete for the league. Arsenal has only battled Manchester City and
They're
Liverpool.
just London rivals, no?
Yeah, so Arsenal have only battled Manchester City and Liverpool in their quest to win the league in this recent 4-5 years. So Chelsea will not come into your mind at all. Knowing that, okay, maybe because of a derby or a rival and all that, but let's forget all of those things. In the real chase, in the real fight, Chelsea has never come close to Arsenal in the recent years. So I don't think as an Arsenal fan I would want Liverpool or maybe Liverpool are bad right now, but I would not want Manchester City to chase me. I would still prefer Chelsea to come behind me, knowing that we can Chelsea can always falter. Arsenal can always win games that you expect them. This one is very difficult and they'll still go ahead, but Manchester City, no, you would not want it. Manchester City.
Felix, you seem to disagree. So you want this City?
First of all, I would just, if I were an Arsenal fan, I would not want anybody to chase me because Arsenal have lost the league to Leicester City. Okay. So
Arsenal did not compete in that season.
Yeah, but
it was Tottenham.
It was supposed to be their year.
Supposed to take advantage.
I get supposed to take advantage.
But why would you want this present City to chase?
Because they are going through a rebuild, and City have scored. Is it not 20s? Haaland basically scored 60% of their goals.
Yeah, true.
If Haaland doesn't play, when I say doesn't play, in
the last couple of seasons.
No, they have had players chipping in 15, 10, 8 goals. Minus Haaland, City's next top scorer is on goal.
Wow.
This season.
Yes. Minus Haaland, their next top scorer in the league is on goal. Steve with 2 own goals against them. So if you can deal with Haaland right now in this Manchester City team, I think you have like 50% of the work done. Rancheki is new, bedding in. Yes, Doku has had some spark here and there, but you don't know him for somebody to be consistent all through the season. Bernardo Silva's leg is gone. There is no Rodri in their midfield. Nico Gonzalez has done a good job, but it's not Rodri. In their defense, Vardio has moved from left back to centre back. He's still suspect here and there. They still give a lot of chance against them. Ruben Diaz, for all of the good work he has done all through his time at Manchester City, the last 2 seasons, he has shown that there is some vulnerability in there. So if I were Arsenal and City are the only side chasing me this season, I don't want to say I would feel comfortable, but I would feel comfortable. I don't know if you get what I mean. So I think it is. I think the only person that can stop Arsenal this season is Arsenal themselves. And how can that happen? Maybe if they begin to because I have seen some Arsenal fans saying we are going to win the Champions League and the league. They say I think the focus should be the league, win the league. If by March, April, you are still maybe 5, 7, 8, 9 points and still in the semi-finals of the Champions League or quarter-finals, you can start thinking about that.
Winning the Champions League, yeah.
But now I like what Arteta is doing, rotating the squad. The Champions League, Martinelli is probably going to start against Bayern. Trossard gets some rest. If maybe one of the defenders, maybe Ben White, comes in for Yoren Timber, maybe we'll see Mosquera for Nkapie. So I like what he's doing with the squad.
I think that was something that Pep Guardiola used to do those years, and it's good that they
keep everybody fresh till you get to March. Because now we know there is no international break again till March. So you have a lot of games coming in thick and fast. You're probably playing 2 games every week. You need your club to be fresh. Let everybody feel like they're part of the squad. You don't want to have one person starting every week, and the next time you call on maybe the person that is in the bench, maybe Saka starting every week, every game. The day you call on Madueke is game rusty. It does not feel like it's part of the whole process. That's something that Pep Guardiola used to do. Like teams that used to have a small squad, 19, 20 players. That if you play FPL, you go always swear for Pep. Alvarez can score a hat-trick this weekend. Next week, Alvarez is starting from the bench.
Yeah.
He would play in somebody else. So I think Arteta and Arsenal are the only. It's looking like they are the only team that can stop themselves this season, because every other team is in the top 4 race, not the title race.
But one thing we can definitely all agree on is it is Arsenal's title to lose
sure.
this season. No Arsenal fan on the table, but
just being honest.
Yeah, we're just being honest.
We'll be honest with trolling.
Felix wants this City to chase. Timothy wants Chelsea to chase. You, that is an Arsenal fan watching this, who do you want to be the closest to Arsenal on top of the table? We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll head straight to the World Cup qualifiers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. Still the Gliders on Bet WGB TV, and like we always remind you on every episode of the show, you can enjoy the very best of the Bet WGB platform if you use our promo code Gliders. Just log on to the platform, sign up, and you have a bonus credit to claim as you enjoy the very best. And like we always say, remember to bet responsibly, guys. Let's get in back on the show. The World Cup playoffs. I mean, we are close to confirming the 48 teams who will be participating in next summer's World Cup, the biggest football event in the world, still arguable for some, but it is the biggest for me. But let's start with the Inter-Confederations player. But just before that, we have the graphics of the qualified teams so far for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Just six teams left.
42 confirmed.
Yeah, 42 confirmed.
No Nigeria.
Yeah, no Nigeria. You have to bring that back. We have four European spots left, and then the other two will come from the Inter-Confederation playoff, which, like you said, Nigeria have failed to qualify for, losing out to DR Congo on penalties. Now, talking about the Inter-Confederations playoff, let's talk about DRC Congo now. Their path, of course, heading into that playoff, they are also one of the two best ranked teams for the teams that will be competing in the playoffs. Timothy, let me start with you. A lot of people have said they might not make it eventually, but do you see DR Congo qualifying to the, from what you saw in the qualifiers, in the CAF qualifiers, and what you saw from this team against the Super Eagles, with the amount of players they also have who might be returning for that playoff in March? Do you see them making it to the World Cup proper?
I see them making it to the World Cup. There's no reason why a team who naturally bad the Eritrea drama and all that, having like about 5-6 points deducted from their normal 22 which they had, which would have seen them qualified for which would have seen them progress. Would they have progressed?
No,
they would not have progressed. What I'm trying to say is, if they were in other groups like the one Nigeria was and all of the other groups, they would have topped the group with the kind of points they had, and then go against Nigeria, go against Cameroon. These are two big nations in Africa, and then you win against them, whether it's penalty or not. A win is a win. They are in the they are in the Inter-Confederation playoff, and then the fact that they would have to play one game less. They just need to play one game to go to the World Cup. That's like already enough. New Caledonia will come up against Jamaica.
Yeah.
I think Jamaica for themselves would be hurting that they failed to beat Curacao, because if they had won against Curacao, they would have qualified, and then maybe Curacao will be in this position where they have to play against New Caledonia. And we saw, I think Steve McLaren resigned immediately after. I mean, sometimes I look at these coaches and I begin to imagine that, can this happen with an African coach and all of these things? Because I mean, look at them. They might have not qualified directly, but they've not done badly. They considered just 5 goals all through the 10 games in the qualifiers. That shows that, okay, maybe just one mistake failed to progress them. But back to DRC, DRC, they did not have the likes of Bogon that play against Nigeria. The likes of Yuan Visa did not play against Nigeria. These are players that when they come back into the side, like you did mention earlier in March, it will make them much stronger. So, I mean, why can't DRC qualify? Looking at Jamaica against New Caledonia, I would expect that, okay, New Caledonia would lose to Jamaica. But that said, I don't think that Jamaica are too big of a team to beat, for DRC to beat. Nigeria beat Jamaica at the Unity Cup in, was it June or July? I can't remember the exact month now.
Was it on penalties?
Yeah, it was on penalties. But at least they could match up against. That's a team that we say, a Nigerian team that we say is bad. Even though, yeah, we had some players, maybe the likes of Osimhen and a lot of those players not available for that Unity Cup. But Nigeria could stand up against them and play the game. Why can't DRC do the same? So I feel like DRC have a chance. They just need to know that, it's that mindset that that, okay, we are playing just one game. We have just one game and then we'll be at the Mundial. So it's up to them. And in terms of player power, I don't think that Jamaica would be able to match up what DRC. DRC have Wan-Bissaka plays in the Premier League. Chancellor Limemba plays in the top league. Tuanzembe, Bongonda, all of these players.
Visa is probably back by then.
Yeah, exactly. So they have those players who are up in the hierarchy of players, and then when you know that you have just one game to play in the World Cup, I mean, why would you not give it all a chance? That said, there's no reason for them to underrate or downplay the fact that okay, they'll be playing Jamaica or New Caledonia. So it's football; anything can happen. For all the 6 teams that have progressed to this stage of the Interconfederation playoff, it shows that okay, there's something that they can do. But it's just unlucky that some teams will have to be unseeded and some will be seeded, and that's where the FIFA rankings come in. But that said, I'm saying that DRC have a chance, but they should not underlook or underrate the fact that Jamaica or New Caledonia could still pose a threat.
So in a nutshell, you're saying DRC would make it to the World Cup.
Yeah, they will qualify for the World Cup.
You also have Fiston Mayele, who was recently named the Interclub Player of the Year.
You saw him against
CAF Awards.
You saw what
we'll get there. We'll get there. He plays for Pyramids. So yeah, we'll get there. But Felix, do you agree? Or will Jamaica be too strong for DRC? This is not us now trying to jump the gun, but on paper, you don't see New Caledonia.
I always felt that for the African teams, the toughest business would be getting through that African playoff. I felt the African teams had a lot of chance to beat everyone else in the intercontinental playoffs. Course Bolivia, Iraq, New Caledonia, Jamaica, those are the teams that are there. I don't see any one of them that probably beats those 4 teams that went into the playoff in the African zone. But like Timothy said, this is football. Jamaica can just on that day do what AC Milan did to Inter. Defend for their life, take one counter attack, get a goal, lock shop, seal the deal, and progress to the World Cup. And it's not like they are basically unknown. Jamaica also have some players that you probably know here and there in that team. So I think Congo go into that game as heavy favorites to win that game. But I will not put it beyond the Jamaicans to get something from that one.
This is all of us agreeing that Jamaica will definitely get the better of New Caledonia, right? From them second.
I don't feel that. Although you'd have expected them to beat Curaçao as well, but it happened that Curaçao go past them. I think was it a goalless draw?
Yeah, a goalless draw. There was a late in that game. There was a late VAR check. Giving Jamaica a penalty. VAR saves Curaçao in that game.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things that can happen. But I still feel like Jamaica, knowing that they're in a position where this is a better chance. You know, in the group stages, it looks like okay, we can still play around. But when you see it's close to you, I mean, when you know that okay, this is just close to us, and you know that okay, you're a better team than this team on paper, maybe not on what to be done on that day. I mean, there's no reason why you should play against New Caledonia and don't win. But that's it. Like Felix said, New Caledonia can decide to say that we want to be crazy. So
if they do get the result against Jamaica, then they could overread and Gray, missing Hogate.
There's Pinnock as well.
Yeah, there is Pinnock. There is Rico Henry. If they get the result against Jamaica, they probably they deserve to play the World Cup.
I think they'll be happy that McLaren resigns. It might just be a bit of a disruption in Jamaica's preparations for these playoffs. But we'll keep our fingers crossed. Just to remember as well, the other brackets for the playoffs, we're going to see Bolivia come up against Suriname, and the winner will go on to face Iraq. Yeah, that's another. I think they are the top-ranked team amongst the six teams in Iraq. Iraq, then DRC. Yeah, so
could have been Nigeria.
Yeah, it could have been Nigeria, but sadly, it is not Nigeria. So that's the bracket for the Interconfederations playoff. It's going to be happening in March next year, ahead of the World Cup. Now let's focus on the CONCACAF teams now. I mean, so many stories to look out for. Which one, Felix, let me start with you. Which one do you love the most? You know, which of the, because we saw the whole celebrations. Every team wants to play at the World Cup. It's the dream of every footballer. It's the dream of some of these countries, these little known countries. We saw a lot of them when they qualified the celebrations, but which one, excites you the most?
I would say it's Curaçao, Timothy has said, there is a lot of stories behind that team. The smallest country in terms of population. The people living in Ajegule are more than the people in the whole of Curaçao. Just 156,000 people living in that small island, and they've qualified for the World Cup. If you put people from inside that country inside Camp Nou. You probably have half of the country in Camp Nou when it is done. So there is that. There is also the fact that their coach, if he stays with them and goes to the World Cup, the advocate, he would become the oldest coach.
Quite experienced as well.
Yeah, 79 by the time the World Cup comes around. That's a lot of experience and age on his head. And another thing that has also caught my fancy with that team is the fact that, like Nigeria and many other smaller nations who tap from players from the diaspora, they have done theirs with their roots, the Netherlands. Let me not say their roots, their colonial master, if you want to put it like that.
Yeah, I get it.
They have a Dutch-heavy squad. Like a lot of their players, PSV, Warwick, all of those teams in the Netherlands, and
the Bakuna brothers are there.
Very good crop of players that they've gathered. Lucadia, that used to play for Brighton previously. They have Bakuna. They have Tahith Chong.
Yeah.
Tahith Chong that used to play for Manchester
United.
United.
Yeah.
And when I was checking them out, I found that he is the most expensive player that they have, 5 million.
That's Tahith Chong, yeah?
Yeah, if you do their whole squad, the money Wolverhampton
Where does
Wanderers-
he play these days?
He plays, is he not Sheffield United? He moved from Birmingham. I know he moved from Birmingham. After he left Man United, he moved to Birmingham. If you check their whole squad, to show you how small they are, their most valuable player is 5 million. The whole squad cost around 28 million. That's less than what Wolverhampton Wanderers paid to get Tolu Arokodare. So I'm just looking at how all of these whole stories. But on the other side, again, I'm now looking at the go to the World Cup now. Will it be a hammering on them? Because I also read one article about somebody saying the World Cup now feels like it's too easy to qualify. I'm happy for them. I'm not saying I'm not happy for them. But I think I also agree with that writer who said the World Cup is sort of becoming too easy to qualify, because if you have in a continent you have 10 countries, 6, possibly 7 going, and then you have another continent where they have 54 and then 9 automatic.
Yeah.
Probably there is no balance. And somehow, even though I don't totally agree with the African side that he called, Gattuso mentioned something about that with Europe. But Curaçao, they would definitely be happy. Probably the whole country can go to USA, Canada and Mexico, and they will still not exceed the number of visas that those countries will be willing to give to them. That's how small they are. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they would offer at the World Cup, especially with their coach and the players, the few ones that I know from there. And probably I'll get to know more of them, because when you qualify for World Cup, that sparks interest in that team. So I would want to see how they do in the World Cup.
Yeah, for Timothy, let me come to you. I mean, for these CONCACAF teams, eyes were on them so much in the qualifiers. You know, a lot of people were focused on the European side of qualifiers, the CAF side of qualifiers, but which of these teams excites you the most? I mean, for Felix, is Curaçao. So tell us, which of them do you think, you find exciting the most that made it to the World Cup?
Yeah, I think looking at everything for the teams that from that CONCACAF region, it has to be 80. They've not played in the World Cup for about 50 years. And then the funny thing is, their manager has never been to their country, because Haiti is a team in war. And then since the 2010 earthquake and all of those things, so the country has been in so much disarray that even they did not play their qualifiers. I think they played in Curaçao their qualifiers. So their manager is working remotely. I mean, their coach their coach is working remote. Okay, should I say remotely? Okay, he's not working on site. He's not working on site, but they're going to the World Cup since the old drama of earthquake and all of those things, kidnapping, conflicts began in 2010. It's been difficult for teams or even the country as a whole to stand. And then when you have that kind of country going to the World Cup, it's really, really exciting. And we know what football does to some of these things. Football is something that unites people, brings people together and all that. And the players they have also, I'm not sure they have any very, very big name player and that would make them to be played at the World Cup, but they're already in this position. It's good for them, and hopefully we have watched the World Cup. We'll watch the like of what was this team was it 2014 or 2018? Iceland. Was it? I think it was 2014.
2018.
Okay, 2018, where Iceland
Yeah, they
came
did some
and
run,
then
yeah.
they did some magic, even though they did not go very, very far. But I mean, it's always that beauty of the World Cup. We expect one or two teams to pull that shocker. We saw Saudi Arabia at the 2022 World Cup defeat Argentina, even though Argentina eventually went to win the competition. But bad the winning of the competition or even progressing, some of these things are what gives us the excitement. I mean, when you go back, you go to see, okay, Saudi Arabia beats Argentina in the 2022 World Cup, the excitement, the joy and everything that it brings. So we hope to see that maybe the likes of Haiti, Curacao, and maybe those other foreign teams, Suriname and maybe New Caledonia, would go to the World Cup and do decent for themselves. But yeah, for me, it has to be Haiti, the team battling wars, the country itself battling, struggling with all of these things. Their coach has not even been to their country. They don't play their games in their country, but they're going to play at the World Cup. It's really, really exciting to see.
Playing in a 48-team World Cup, really massive for this team. I mean, you could imagine the scenario in Haiti there, not playing your country in war, not playing your games at home. In as much as I love the stories, I love them that they will be playing in the World Cup, but they will be the whipping boys, trust me. Yeah. I'm not trying to downplay their achievement, but I think they would be one of the whipping boys in the Mundial. I can be wrong, but there are just some teams who go there just to participate and they end up conceding too many goals. Teams just trash them anyhow.
Do you guys like this idea of this 48 team?
I was going to ask the question. There's a 64
FIFA contemplating 64.
But
No,
I don't think that would happen.
should be the limit. It seems you seem not to be excited about it.
I don't particularly like, because it looks like a money move. And we know what the game is now. But
these teams don't care. You want
Yes.
to get the World Cup.
How many teams are in the FIFA are under FIFA?
Around 100, 200. Okay, 205.
Then 48 is not too much. Let's be honest with ourselves. If you have 205 nations under a body,
Then let's just
48
make it an Olympics then.
No, it's not about
And
that.
have everybody
I mean,
come around.
48 over 205 is less.
See, I'm
If
not
you
a
look at it from
lot.
that angle, 64 too might not be too much.
And yeah, that's what I'm
So-
asking. So
I like
is still very good.
opportunities for every team to try and have an opportunity to play in the World Cup. But I am this guy that likes jeopardy in football.
Is this you seeing the angle Gattuso is coming from? Or
Not the
apart from the whole
Gattuso
African thing he
because
talked about.
Italy have themselves. If Norway beats you home and they win 7-1. Yes, I know they've won 6 of their 8 games, and maybe that should
Exactly.
be enough. But if
Yeah,
Norway
that's
beats you
the
home and they
point.
win 7-1, then maybe you deserve to play in the playoffs. But what I'm saying is, I like jeopardy. I like when the way Nigeria had to fight and all of that to go to this. The Curacao, the South American teams, they have 10 teams playing in their qualifiers.
Yeah.
6 have already gone
Qualified,
through.
yeah.
1 is in the playoff. That's like 70% of a continent.
And maybe you can
Playing
talk
in the World
about
Cup.
then
Maybe the arrangements.
That's where you need to bring it in. That okay,
Yeah.
maybe
maybe the
slots
structure.
are aligned to different continents.
Yeah,
if you look
because
at
70
okay,
from
maybe
South
Africa.
America, while we have 54 in Africa and 9 teams automatic, it's giving
That's
not
where you
balance.
can challenge it. But in general,
No, whoever qualifies and goes to play in the World Cup, I am happy for them. Go
Yeah,
and
exactly.
play. You probably have deserved it if you qualify. But I'm just saying, I like that jeopardy. Make it let the best teams qualify. That's what I thought about the Champions League too when they made this reshuffling. I'm not against this Champions League structure. What I was just against is after that first round of games, let half of the people just get knocked out. Just you have 16 teams instead of that playoff. Let the jeopardy be high. Let the risk and reward be also high. I don't like the fact that plenty people, because we want to have many games so that we'll have more money.
So,
it's not right.
Should they make it down to every 2 years? If you don't want to see it that way.
No.
And stay at 4 years.
48 teams every 2 years.
You're talking about the whole setup now. You want to see teams qualifying for the World Cup. So, and if teams are much, do you want to see it happen every 2 years and for these teams to play? Or the 4 years format is untouchable for you?
If it's going to be 48
less
teams, 4 years, let's leave it there. If they are going back to the 32 team, which they will not, I can do 2 years for 32 teams World Cup. 32 teams World Cup every 2 years. But then again, that also takes something out from the World Cup, because it will begin to clash with continental tournaments, because that's around the time those continents have their games. The women's game also, the one period when the men do not have either Euros, Nations Cup, or the World Cup, that's when the women also play.
Even for
their World
FIFA,
Cup.
when do they have time to plan? If
their
you play in
Club World Cup.
2026, then 2028 you have to play again. So all
their
of those
Club World Cup.
things.
So I don't think for FIFA it is feasible to do it every 2 years. But if they were, if before they suggested this 48 team, they suggested every 2 years, and they were going to find a way around it.
They would always find a way. So
that would not
irrespective of
clash. I
how
would
we
have
say,
taken that, but
they would
again,
always find a way.
I feel these 4 years, the law of that 4 years, that you have to wait another 4 years. It gives that World Cup the extra spice.
Maybe that's why
Exactly,
it is 48 teams.
it's sweeter. I mean,
That's why it is 48, because you don't
Yeah,
want to see too
if
many
they will
teams
leave
waiting
the
for 4 years and
48,
not get to participate in
Yeah,
the
they will
World Cup.
leave the 48, then maybe they restructure the qualifying process. Because we cannot have a team that is ranked, this is not me saying Nigeria should be in the World Cup, 42nd, not going to the World Cup. Why a team ranked 85, 86, probably 90, 100 are qualified because they had easier teams to play against in the qualifiers. That will not happen in tennis. The ATP finals, the top 8 goes through. If anyone is injured, they shift it to the next ranked person, the next ranked person, and the next ranked person. That's why we have those rankings. Nigeria cannot play against Curaçao. But probably if we played against Curaçao, Suriname, we probably are going to the World Cup.
Yeah.
So it's kind of not fair if they can find a balance on how to make it the toughest zones, Europe, Africa, Asia, and the zones that have more countries, probably give them more slots.
exactly.
That's probably not going to happen.
All right, so the guys have had their say on the World Cup and the qualification process. We'll go on another break. When we return, we'll talk about the CAF Awards and MPFL contingents in the CAF Champions League. That's where we'll be wrapping things up. Don't you go anywhere. One final break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. Once again, still the Gliders on BetWGB TV. Emmanuel Sebastian still standing in as your host and our final lap on the show. But just we go on the final lap, once again to remind you, use our promo code. Sign up on the BetWGB platform. The promo code is Gliders, GLIDERS, and you can claim a huge bonus credits to enjoy the very best. I will always say, will always repeat, bet responsibly. Guys, let's wrap things up on the show. Let's talk about the CAF Awards now. We share a forum on WhatsApp together. I saw your debates, your disagreements on the awards and all that. But let's start with the male player of the year, the men's player of the year, Ashraf Hakimi. No doubt, we are all in one shoes, in sync with that one. Timothy?
Yeah, sure. I was on the last episode and I said that there's no doubt that Hakimi
no
would
doubt.
have
Yeah.
won
So
it.
now the female category now, women's player of the year, was Rashidat Ajibade robbed of that trophy? Timothy.
Yes, and this is me saying it very confidently. I'll break my points down. Rashidat Ajibade was robbed of the CAF Women's Player of the Year trophy. Firstly, in a tournament year that is the biggest tournament in your continent, knowing that for the women's side, the African Women's African Cup of Nations is the biggest tournament for the women's side, and then this lady, you claim that she was the player of the tournament and you handed it over to her. And then she was influential. Her team also won. It's not just being the women's player of, there are some players that win the best player of the tournament, but their teams don't go on to win the competition.
True.
And she was the best player. Her team won the competition, and then she went ahead to do that. And just a few months before that, a few months after that, you are saying you want to do an award. I think it was in July, August, September, October, 3 months in between, where many things did not go on in terms of women's football, aside, club action and all that.
That's another
So
angle.
what are you judging that Gislan Chibak did? Let's look at Chibak's run from, was it January to October?
That's the period of review.
Please, I need you to tell me what Chibak did that made her to be able to win the African Women Player of the
Maybe
Year.
Felix is going to tell us. Maybe
He needs to tell me if he's supporting her, because I don't know if he's in support of her. I see politics here. It's just a case of let's compensate. Morocco have, like I think Joy said, was it you or Joy that said it on the last episode? Morocco have hosted a lot of tournaments. They've hosted so many things in the last couple of months, maybe let me just say 18 months, and then you expect that they get rewarded, and then for a team that are even doing well in terms of infrastructure and all of those things, you expect them to get rewarded for some of this thing. That said, I think the Moroccan under 20 they were deserving of it. Hakimi was deserving. Which other one did they win?
Yasin Bono, goalkeeper of the year.
Yeah, I think Yasin Bono, who was in contention. I had no doubt about
Rowan Williams. I'm trying to remember the third goalkeeper.
Yeah, I had no doubt. I think it was keenly contested between.
The third goalkeeper is the second choice goalkeeper for Morocco.
Bono against Williams. Williams did not really have such a maybe highly influential season, just like he did at the last AFCON. Yeah, so it was really good. And then knowing that Bono even played at the Club World Cup, made a couple of saves for Al Hilal and all of those things. But this
didn't win anything. Romans made it all the way to the CAF Champions League final.
The Club World Cup is probably bigger, and I think they made it to the quarterfinal. Well, they beat Manchester City.
Al Hilal, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, that one can be also questionable, but it's not much of a debate where I can see that okay, maybe one person is being robbed or something. It's
compared
something
to
that
Rashidat one.
No, this is clear robbery. If you say a player is your player of the tournament in a competition year, I mean, why did Lookman win? Why did Lookman win the African Player of the Year? Lookman won the African Player of the Year because of his duties at the AFCON and what he did at Atalanta. Osimhen won the African Player of the Year because of what he did at the with his club in Napoli, got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, scored so many goals and all of those things. Hakimi won the Player of the Year. It was obvious that Hakimi won Player of the Year because of all the exploits he did with his club. I mean, there was not much to do with Morocco in club football from January up until this time. Everything was qualifier. So if you are judging based on club football, Hakimi won his parts. In the terms of women's side, what was going to be judged with? There was nothing else. There was nothing else you would judge with.
Can you make
a
case?
There's no case. If you want to make a case, you just want to let me not go with what Timothy is saying. If you are being honest with yourself, that's the truth now.
First of all, I would say it's disrespectful to say it is politics and
no, it's not. What do you mean it's disrespectful?
At the
WAFCON.
Yeah.
And what do you mean it is disrespectful?
I'm getting there. It's disrespectful to say it was just politics and all of that, or trying to reward Morocco because they are hosting Africa the last couple of years.
I stand on that position.
First of all, their game has been developing over time. Back-to-back WAFCON final.
Are we giving awards based on?
I'm saying the development, the signs.
I mentioned that earlier.
In the women's what's it called? Champions League, ASFA.
Yeah,
been doing very good in that competition. Their under 20 recently won the World Cup. So all around, Morocco have been developing.
Also, let me clarify this. Wait. I need to clarify. Okay. I stated it that bar all of those things. I mentioned it that they deserve.
No, you tried to reduce the award.
No, I said Chibak
just because they wanted to.
Calm down now. I said Chibak, and then I even explained my point, saying that Bono deserved it, Hakimi deserved it.
Yeah.
I said Morocco deserved it.
I'm going to say Chibak deserved it. Why? Because
you won the.
It's not politics because people voted.
True.
You want CAF to? CAF did not just go in one room and say, Morocco, let's give Morocco. If they show you people that voted, they voted. And I'm going to say, I would have been disappointed if Ajibade won that award. I feel Nigeria lost that award. There's not much we could have done, though. But when we allowed those silly things that they were doing during the WAFCON,
which is
giving Ajibade Woman of the Match.
I also have an issue with that one.
I
have an issue with that one as well.
Putting in stinkers.
I see the point you were making.
If we had Okoronkwo win those award, or is it Esther Okonkwo or is it Okoronkwo?
Yeah, then she would have been on the podium.
Win those award and eventually win Player of the Tournament with her numbers and what she did at club side, winning the WAFCON, winning the Player of the Tournament, it would have been heads on easy. In that same tournament.
For her to win.
Yes, for her to win. And I would have been here if they did not give her that award and say,
Felix,
no,
Emmanuel asked you a question. You have not answered why Chibak won this award. Yes, you have only mentioned Morocco doing well for
I'm saying the Nigerian that was nominated was the wrong Nigerian.
I know that one. Okay.
So that's
why I said if CAF gives someone a player of the year.
Emmanuel mentioned Chibak being the top scorer at the WAFCON. Yeah. At that WAFCON where Ajibade was winning all those, Chibak was the second best player in that tournament. It was not like she had a stinker of a tournament. That final decided who won that award. If Morocco held on to that 2-0 win and they won, that the committee probably votes Chebak as player of the tournament. They did not vote her because Nigeria won that tournament. And I don't know if they were trying to just do that to... Maybe that was where the politics was played, not at the CAF Awards. The politics was played at that WAFCON. Because if Okoronkwo had won that player of the tournament there with the 6 assists, was it?
Yeah.
2 goals?
Yeah.
In that tournament, if she won the player of the... It
and
should
decent
have been
numbers for our club.
easy. 29 goals in around 35 for club and country. Goals contribution for Okonkwo. So that the politics was played long before the final day of the award. Of the 3 players that were nominated that night,
so you're saying
Felix has not answered any question.
So you're saying
Felix has not answered any question.
Was Esther Okoronkwo who was in the top 3.
Yes,
it would have been hard to ignore her. To give Ghislaine Chebak. Is that what
you're
saying?
That's what I'm saying. Of the 3 players, that final, the 3 finalists, Chebak, Ajibade, and who was the last person? Chebak is the better player of those 3. The last, like, if you watch them play, watch that AFCON, except want to do that Niger Pasha.
What's Nigeria Pasha like?
To say
you have not answered the question. Why did a simple question? Emmanuel asked you a simple question.
But I see the point.
No, he has not answered. No, it is
you did not answer.
You did not answer the question. You just made analogies. You first started by downplaying everything I said, starting with the fact that
I did not downplay. I said
no. You downplayed it. You said it was disrespectful. Then something I explained. No, I explained myself.
You said they were trying to give them.
Let me ask you one question. Why did Chebak win this award?
Okay, you want me to go through it again? One, I said the wrong Nigerian was nominated.
No, now you are going back.
That could also be a reason.
He's saying you can't say.
You know, you can't. No. You're not gonna let me do 2.
No, that's
2 of the 3 players that were nominated.
My question politically. Why did Chebak win? No, if I say that, why did
give me your answer.
Who won the Ballon d'Or? If I say that, why did Dembele? If I say why did Dembele?
Help me answer.
No, I'm not answering for you.
But allow him answer.
He has not. He's not answering. He's just mentioning. No, yeah, continue.
I said 1, the wrong Nigerian was
That's
nominated.
not an answer now.
Secondly, of the 3 players that were nominated, Chebak, except you want to turn a blind eye, is better than Ajibade and Nsudi.
How is she better?
She's a better footballer than.
How is she better now?
She was in the 5th Pro 11. You know this.
Professional
players.
That's another point.
Professional footballers.
Now, I think
the professionals voted her.
Continue.
They voted her in the 5th Pro 11, not African 11, no, 5th World 11. In a position that you have people like Keria Walsh, you have Elatun, you have Aitana Bomati, Alexia Putellas. They voted Chebak into 5th Pro 11. So quality for quality, you put Chebak, you put Ajibade. I take Chebak every day of the week, 2 times on a Saturday, 3 times on a Sunday.
So that was why she won the.
No, I'm saying she was a better player.
No, if you are saying that Dembele and Messi, okay, Dembele and who even had a very very good Dembele and Mbappe, who would you pick?
I'm saying in the year in
no,
review.
No, in the year in review, Dembele and Mbappe, who would you pick?
Let's leave it to our viewers.
So if we are going to
Dembele and Mbappe,
let me give you one final.
You are not answering my question. Dembele and Mbappe, who would you pick?
Dembele and Mbappe. Depends on who is the coach. If it's Enrique, he picks Dembele.
You see.
If it's Enrique,
it depends on who is the coach.
Yes,
but you are not the coach. You are not a coach, but you chose
to pick as the Ballon d'Or winner, or will you pick in your side?
What he said. I'm trying to go towards his angle. He said that Chebak and Ajibade is going to pick Chebak. I don't have an issue.
I said in the last 1 year. I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue. She's a better player.
I don't have an
in the last 1 year, she was a better player.
But we are talking about an award.
Football.
If you are going to pick Mbappe and Dembele, I would obviously pick Mbappe. But Mbappe did not win the award, and that's what we are saying. In the year in review, what do you use to judge an award? If you win the African Player of the Year, if you win the women's AFCON, it shows that, and you don't win, and they name you the player of the tournament, and they don't give you this award, then I don't know what CAF is giving. Because in this context, there's no club football. I mean, the AFCON is coming up in January. You see, towards the end of the year, the AFCON will count. Whoever wins the AFCON will count towards whoever wins the African Player of the Year next year. But this year, there's nothing like that for men's football. That's why Hakimi easily could win it. Now we are talking about women's side. What was in context? It is the African player of. It is the women's AFCON. And if you win the women's AFCON, they name you the player of the tournament. Then I don't see what is in. I have issues myself. I have issues with Ajibade winning the player of the tournament for the WAFCON itself. I have issues. Fine, But if they've nominated you for this, that okay, you are the player of the tournament, and your team even goes ahead to win it, no. There's no way you have not answered my questions.
One thing is certain, this awards will forever spark debate.
Of course now. You can't make me take sides with you because of you have not defended anything. You just keep going.
If we are going to reduce these awards to just 3 weeks, 1 month tournament, then I don't think it's fair. Ekong won the player of the tournament at the last AFCON.
Yeah. And it doesn't.
It was obvious that Lukman was going to win it. It was
player
obvious
of the year.
It was obvious. Nobody had that.
That's what I'm saying. It is not A happens, B should follow.
Let me tell you something.
No.
Emmanuel, don't tell me that you can't use... Emmanuel, you can use 1 month to decide who wins the Ballon d'Or. Why did Dembele win the Ballon d'Or? From when did the season start last season? When did Dembele hit peak? I think it was from February. That was when Dembele started doing so well. Why did they not take all the things that Yamal had probably done, all the assists, everything he was doing?
That's another debate that is going
that's
to
what I'm saying. So don't tell me that you can use... Messi won the Ballon d'Or. Why did Messi win the Ballon d'Or?
We're going to leave it to our viewers.
Ronaldo has won the Ballon d'Or by scoring Champions League goals. Messi have won the Ballon d'Or because of, one tournament or the couple of good runs that he had in about 1 month. So you can't tell me that you can't use a tournament to decide.
If you're watching this, please tell us what you think. Don't just comment. If you want to comment as a Nigerian or as a neutral person, was Chebak more deserving than Rashidat Ajibade for the CAF Women's Footballer of the Year?
Next year we'll be here now. Morocco will win the WAFCON or someone will win the WAFCON. Then the reason why they will give the player of the year will be because of the WAFCON. I'm saying this thing. Don't worry now. We'll be together.
I see what you're saying.
Who won the player of the? Okay, there was no WAFCON that year. I'm talking about this Zambian girl. I think that was club football. That was club football exploit that made her win it. But I mean, in a tournament here, players have won Ballon d'Or because of winning the World Cup. Players have won Ballon d'Or because of winning the Champions League. The World Cup is a 1 month tournament. The Champions League.
As Asisa not won CAF Player of the Year in a year, we did not win the AFCON.
That's what I'm saying. It was club football that was the determining factor.
Timothy,
you are not listening to me.
Let's leave this.
Club football was the determining factor.
I said no.
No.
Let's leave it to our viewers. Tell us what you think. Was Chebak more deserving or was Rashidat
Felix no get point,
more deserving? We are just relining it to this category because there were several categories. Yeah. I mean, the Super Falcons National Team of the Year, the Morocco Under-20 National Team of the Year for the men's side. We talked about Bono earlier on, and I talked about Fistim Mayele, and that's where we'll be wrapping up on the show. The Interclub Player of the Year plays for Pyramids, who clashed against Rivers United in the first game of the CAF Champions League. I want to believe we saw that game. I watched that game on Super Sports. I mean, too strong on the day, Felix, for Rivers United Pyramids.
Yeah.
Or does that result say what is going to happen for the rest of the group campaign for Rivers United in the CAF Champions League?
What is largely going to happen? Yes, that's what I think. They will play against RS Bakan, who also started on a very good note.
I know,
they probably the last team in their group,
Power Dynamo,
are probably the only side. They probably
you feel they can get a result.
Just for the sake of our rankings. That our getting first slots in the continent, let's probably finish third because that's times 5 in the coefficients ranking. But first and second, I think we already know where that would go. But that game, first half 0-0, but at no point in that game,
the second half,
at no point in that game did I feel like Rivers United were going to come out of that game with something. Even in that first half when they were playing 0-0, they were ultra defensive, but they offered very little going forward, and that is one problem I always have with teams that their what's it called, their strategy in a game similar thing with what Spurs did against Arsenal. You want to soak in the pressure, but you don't have anything that you offer. When you soak in the pressure and you have something to offer when you go forward, it keeps the opposition on their toe, keeps them on their toe, and people you have that feeling that okay, we can do something. The opposition also, because of that, maybe you do one fast break 2 times. They say, okay, these guys be like, say, then get something. They retreat a bit. In that retreating from the opposition, the pressure on you guys reduces.
reduce,
But when the opposition loses the ball, you guys have a chance to. But you cannot string 3-4 passes before you get to the halfway line. You lose the ball. The opposition don't know say now only us they play this match. Now defense versus attack. So at no point did I feel like Rivers United were going to come out of that game maybe unscathed. But I did not see the capitulation
In the second half,
happened defensively. I thought if Pyramids were going to score, it would be from their own play and all of that. I didn't see that it was going to be self-inflicted errors on the Rivers United part. But I did not expect them to come out with a point. I feel like where I expect them to be jostling for points is when they play at home. Like if they can squeeze in 1-0 wins or play draws, that can go a long way in trying to help them. Maybe give them small push. But for the 2 games they are going to North Africa, the one in Morocco against Bakken, and this one that they already lost, I already zeroed that one as 6 points lost. So I was not expecting anything from that game.
Timothy, quickly from you, your thoughts from that game?
If you are a team that don't score so many goals and you concede 3, I feel like there's an issue. Rivers United, they don't know how to score goals. There's always been an issue. They scored 3 in the final stage of the qualifier before they got into the group stage. That was shocking to me. But if you're a team that don't score so many goals and you go and concede 3, like Felix said, they were very good defensively in the first half, and they had a couple of chances to maybe make something work, but like they were not composed in the way they wanted to go about it. And if you are that defensive, just like Felix said, you have to, at a switch, make something count. It's just like what AC Milan did to Inter Milan. They were very defensive, but when that fast break came, they utilized it and led to a goal. That's one thing you need to do when you're playing very, very defensively. I mean, you can't defend. Personally, for me, I'm not someone that really likes to defend so much, especially when maybe you see teams leading someone and then they say they want to come and lock shop. I mean, 1 goal is like the most easiest thing to cancel. As much as it's difficult, I mean, between 2, 3, 4 minutes, you could be 2-1 up, and then between 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, you could be 3-2 down already. So that's how football works. But let's. I don't know if their second game is against Bakken. Yeah, their second game is against Bakken in Uyo. I don't know how they would want that one to pan out, but I feel like they need to do better in terms of the way they go forward. Defend very well, but you can still make something happen, create chances, and be compact defensively. If they can get 3 points in Uyo, honestly, it will be really, really, really nice. But I see it very, very difficult. But let's hope to see how it all pans out. But losing 3-0, that's already a deficit of -3 already. And Rivers United, I don't think they can beat Bakken 3-0. If they even score, if they win 1-0, it's going to be a miracle. They play Pyramids again.
1-0 will not be a miracle.
Okay. if they beat Pyramids as well, maybe when they play in Uyo back, I don't think they can score 3 goals. So these are the things they need to watch. You need to watch your deficits. It may play out on the long run. I mean,
because we still use that to head in Africa.
Yeah, so it may play out on the long run. So you need to be careful of how you also consider all these goals. But let's see how it pans out when they play against Bakken first.
Timothy mentioned something about Rivers United not scoring enough, and I feel it's an MPFL thing. It's not many times we make it like it's a Rivers United problem.
So you're saying
Rivers United
goals in the MPFL. I don't think any team is averaging 2 goals.
No, but if you look at Rivers United numbers in the past few seasons, they are worse. I mean, they are very worse. For a team that finishes in the upper echelon, even teams that are below them, teams that are struggling in relegation, they score goals more than Rivers United. That said, it means they are very good defensively in the league. But I mean, they still need to do better in terms of scoring goals, because now you're on the continent. It's showing that, okay, if you are very good in terms of goal scoring, it can also make effect do with what you are doing defensively. If you look at their numbers so far in the league, I'm not sure they've scored up to they've not scored up to 10 goals, and they've played how many games?
But what I'm saying is they played 12. But what I'm saying is, if you even look at the highest scoring team in the league right now, 17 Niger Tornadoes in 14 games. That's like 1 point something goals. Nobody's averaging 2 goals. So it's an MPFL problem in general. Rivers United might be worse. Yeah, but their defensive solidity sometimes covers for that lack of attacking intent that
in the league
they don't have.
That defensive solidity is not covering them in the CAF Champions League. Well, that's where we'll draw the curtains on the show today. Like I promised you, we were bright with our outfits, and the analysis indeed has been bright on the show. So share your thoughts in the comment section from
especially on that.
from all the
I would love to see
from all the
what you
talking
see on
points
that.
we've talked about on the show today. Tell us what you think. Drop a comment. Don't forget to always like and share this across your personal handles. We really do appreciate this very much. Emmanuel Sebastian has been your host on the show alongside Felix and also Timothy. Up next, we don't know who's going to host, but keep it locked with us on the Gliders on Bet WGB TV. Emmanuel Sebastian signing out. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.